right. It's the end of the road. Season 10. I mean, episode 10.
We've come full circle.
Full circle. Here we are. And for the most part, I feel like my questions are answered.
Yeah, same.
I mean, you know, in case they don't come out with a season 2, I'm not feeling like, no! I feel like,
Yeah, a lot of people are, but I think it's just because they have problems letting go.
show hole.
Yeah.
That's fine, you know, y'all. You can find something else to watch. We're gonna be all right.
Yeah. Watch this again. I mean, learn so much from it.
You can definitely look at it again, over and over again. And so at this point, we already know what it is. It's the autumnal. You guys said it right. Autumnal equinox happening, and it's go time. We're getting ready. It's TTG. Time to go. Well, wait, no. Well, actually, they are still working on D, because D reversed.
Yeah, it opens up with everybody running back because they just got the book back. So they're running in with D, and D is, you know, further in the curse, so it's progressed again, and she's looking, you know, like the things that attacked her. So using the spells that they got from the book, you know, Tick says something, and then the book opens, and immediately he drops and then to the ground, and then Letty does behind him.
And the book turns to a page that has a symbol that is the birthmark on all of his family members, which we saw a few episodes ago when he went to go find out some information about his family in Tulsa. So we get to see that there's a whole page in the Book of Names with that birthmark. And like she said, that happened, they pass out, and they immediately go to that scene that they showed frequently throughout the season, where it's the burning plantation home, or the burning castle, whatever they was calling that thing. Did they have a name for the house?
I don't know, just the Artem house, I guess.
Yeah, the Artem house was on fire.
Yeah.
And so they both end up in that.
Well, he does, but she ends up in the Tulsa home with.
Oh yeah, she is in the Tulsa home. So they're both interesting. Yeah, so they're both in the fires, and they're getting pretty much prepared for this fight. Tick sees his mom, and
First he sees Hannah though.
Oh yes,
Hannah tells him.
Yes, Hannah's telling him what she's been telling him, or what people have been trying to figure out the entire time, which was, you know, it's in your blood, or the answer is in your blood. And she breaks down everything that happened, pretty much how she even got to the magic. She thought it was the devil, but then she realized how to harness it for her own power. And it was like, she put the spell on the bloodline so they couldn't find them, which I thought was odd. How did they?
That's why I realized today.
Oh,
that's
Montrose
why
is
they
the
kidnapped
bloodline.
Montrose.
Right.
Find,
they don't. Yeah.
They couldn't find
They
Tick
couldn't.
himself.
Yeah. Montrose would not be direct bloodline, so he wouldn't. He could be easily found. And so she's just telling him the rundown, like, this is what it is. You have a purpose to fulfill that is bigger than you.
You're gonna change everything.
You're gonna change everything.
I thought it was pretty powerful though when she was talking about the fire, because every time we've seen fire, it's been in a very scary sense. Like, it's been used to harm and to kill. But what she specifically says was that she was able to learn how to tame her rage, and I'm guessing that was after she passed, because she was probably brought there continuously, because we learned from Hattie's scene that she killed herself. She ended up taking her life.
Yeah, that's what she said though. She said she kept coming back to that.
Oh,
and
okay.
He was right. She said she kept coming back, and then that's when she harnesses the fire too, and pretty much is like showing him, like, you know, we can get busy. Like,
right.
This isn't no thing
Power.
where, this isn't no situation where it's just them, the Braithwaites, with all of the power. We actually are equipped. And so, like I said, time to get busy.
Time to get busy.
Time to get busy.
Now, Letty on the other side she's talking to Hattie. Hattie, again, gives her the book. They're going over some things in the book. And Letty, at first, is like, you know, give it to somebody else, give it to Tick, and she's like, Tick has his own burden to bear. So, we were watching together, and that's when I think you kind of mentioned, and we realized that Letty was having it to pass on to her son because Tick was probably not going to be there to do that. So, that Letty's learning things. Then, as you said, Tick is transported from Hannah to his father's apartment. So we see again the record player playing beautiful music, and someone walks in, and Tick initially he thinks it's his dad, and then he walks over and he sees it's his mom.
And they just have a really nice mother and son moment. I'm thinking about people that may have lost parents and how comforting that may be to see a parent that has passed on. So of course he's reverted back to childhood, and it's just kind of he can just kind of vent and exhale after all these weeks of adventures and ups and downs. It's just rests his head on his mom's lap. He's like, Mom, I'm afraid to die, I don't want to die, or something along those lines. So very true emotion, which is really beautiful. But she's pretty much saying, it's okay. This is what we gotta do. This is what you gotta do.
Right.
But you're gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. And so this is when everyone else, we outside of Letty and Tick, the audience is able to see he's just gonna die. This is when we get confirmation that Tick is going to die this episode. Even though they try to be when they get out of the portal or out of that dream, they try to comfort the family, and it's there's other options, there's other ways, and it seems as though they're making other things happen. It's just kind of a thing where it was that interaction between him and his mom that just kind of let me know that he's going to be dead by the end of the episode.
Right, because there was never a moment when they were trying to comfort him saying, well, maybe you won't die. It was always I know you're scared.
Pretty much accept it.
Just instilling that and reinforcing that. So, Tick and his mom then walk into the room with Letty and Hattie, and Tick and Letty just exchange a look, and it's a beautiful emotional connection moment between them, but no words, just a look. And then they all get around the bed, and Hattie tells them start focusing on D, and then they start doing a chant. So in current world,
it's like a parallel universe,
right? It's like the realms,
they're standing around the bed, and in the physical, just for the sake of it, we'll say in the 3D, they can't be seen. But in the 5D, the ancestors and Letty and Tick are standing around the bed chanting a spell to release this curse. And on their end, they are seeing the spell come through. Yeah. As Dee is coming back to normal, as we saw her do on the previous episode. Yeah. But the arm doesn't come back.
Yeah, unfortunately, her writing arm was still essentially dead. I guess death was taking over her whole body, and it didn't, it wasn't able to come out of her arm. So Dee comes out of it, and she is immediately screaming, freaked out from her arm. And we see her mom trying to comfort her. Letty and Tick her back too. That's when Letty's like, I need pen and paper. And what is she? She's writing what Hattie taught her, no?
Okay. The spells that so they do kind of they're kind of doing a fluid back and forth of showing what's going on in each of these moments. And Hattie is going through the book with her and showing her the spells, and I'm sure gotta be saying them because the way she's
teaching them how to teaching them how
to say them. So she's just taking all of this, and of course it's when you have a prophetic dream and you wake up where's the pen and paper? It was the same thing. She's like, let me just go and write all this down. And of course she tells her the high importance of this particular spell that she's telling her, which we'll get to later.
Right. So where do we go next? What happens after that?
Okay, so after they have that situation, Ruby and Letty kind of pleads to Ruby because they find out, because was it Tick who finds out that they have to do a binding spell? Somebody finds out when they're in the thingies, in the fire, that they have to do a binding spell in order to kind of I guess counteract what Christina's trying to do. And so I think it was Tick that was telling them that they needed, to combine the blood and the nails and all this and what spells. I think that was what he was told, right? Or was it Letty? I can't remember. One of them came back with the facts, and then Letty runs after Ruby and is pretty much like pleading with her, like, we need Christina's body, which is what you need from all three sources. Like, you would need Tick's blood, Christina's blood, and Titus. Breaks White, like the top dog's blood. And so she's like, you're the only person that we can trust to get this. We need you to get it. And Ruby tells her no. And so I'm like, this bitch.
Yeah, basically. I mean, and Letty's speech was very endearing.
Oh, yeah.
And, I feel like, especially with her being pregnant now and really, like, feeling the pull of family, understanding, like, the importance of it. So she tries to talk to Ruby about that at their mother's grave at that. And one of the things she says is, I've learned now what family is, and it's not obligation. So she's asking Ruby, I need you to be my sister. I need you to help me. She even says, Atticus thinks you're on Christina's side, but I need you to be my sister. And Ruby's response is basically like, you're being selfish once again. Like, you only want to be sisters when you need me. And this is the same old Letty. So she walks away from her and looks like she's refusing to help. The last thing that Letty says to her is, there's one more thing you need to know. We don't hear what that is, but when we were watching, we were wondering if it was about the fact that Christina gave her all the money. I don't know if that's part of the secret.
I feel like it might be. I mean, but what doesn't make sense to me is Christina already told you out of her mouth that she's using you. So I feel like, how many different things do we have to tell Ruby to expose Christina for the type of shit
and to help her sister?
I mean, seriously. But I feel like that might be what she might have told her, which could have prompted her to move the way that she did in the next scene.
Maybe so.
I don't know what else she would have done.
Okay, so let's take a step back though, because I think before this, they had to summon Titus first, because Christina was the last piece, I believe. So they went down in the elevator.
But doesn't she go to see Christina first before that happens?
No,
because they're driving in a car. No. Okay.
Because when she sees Christina is the last time we saw her. Remember, the last time we saw Ruby.
Right, and they had a conversation and they kissed. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, because that didn't happen yet. The whole Titus scene is before that.
Okay, it's all running together to me. I'm just trying to talk about, like, I guess, bigger things that happened. So, okay, what happened?
So they go down in the basement. They go under the water again. Letty and Atticus again are, going down together to do something. We don't know what they're doing yet, but they're holding hands, and again, they're not speaking. They're just exchanging nonverbal communication between the two. Which again, their love is so beautiful. This scene, because they've come to terms with what has to happen, and there's not really anything to talk about. You have to do this. So we see them going down. They go down underground in the elevator. They get to the episode where they did the Indiana Jones stuff. So they create a circle of salt, and they create the two protection signs on both ends of the circle. So they're chanting in turn, and they bring Titus forth. Titus, he's looking at them. He's like, "Who are you?" And then Hannah appears, and Hannah's like, "That's your blood heir." So they exchange words, and he essentially, you see his just disdain for her, just his, I'm above you, he calls her a ungrateful wench. And, then he disappears, right? No, Tig jumps in and tries to fight him, and then he disappears. And they're trying to get him back. This is when, now he shows up in the street, and, that's when we see Christina and Ruby in the car. They almost hit him. Christina flies out of the car, but she again is protected, so she doesn't die. She runs back to the car, checks on Ruby, and sees Titus. He says those N-words have the book, and is summoned back to them in the circle. Now when he's brought back to the circle, it's all the ancestors. We see Hannah, we see Hattie, we see Tick's mom, and also Letty, all in the circle chanting, which is what I guess the power that they needed to bring him back. Now, as they're chanting, Tick attacks him, stabs him, and cuts open his chest. Is it his liver he takes? Or his...
I don't know.
The area looked like his heart, but...
I don't know what that was.
I don't know what it was.
It was a part of him.
Some part of his internal organs he takes out. And then they say that was supposed to be the easy part. Oh.
So, I guess after that, the next day, is this the following day or something before they go to Artem?
When is the Gia scene? Because he calls Gia up at the hotel.
That's what I'm saying.
I know there's so much.
So anyway, so at some point, he goes to go see Gia. He apologizes, and it's pretty much, I need you on the team. Like, and which I'm very thankful that he went and apologized to her. That was very nasty. The way he was talking to her was very stank. And so he apologized and said that, you know, what we had was real. What we have is like family. And so, like, can you be down with the squad? And she said, yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then something happens. I don't know. I think there's like a next day or something like that is when they get ready to pack up the car and it's like all nice and sunny and bright and they're happy, right? It's got to be the next day because all of that other stuff is happening at night. Like he meets her at the bar at night. And
I know.
The thing with Titus. Anyway, so
Christina did come after she saw Titus and tried to ask them for the book at the shop. She was like, I hear y'all have the book. Give it to me. I'll leave your family alone. I'll find another way to get
I don't understand why they didn't kill her, but whatever. All of y'all was surrounded. Like y'all could have jumped her, but I didn't understand that. Not my place to understand that. But they don't give it to her. Essentially, of course.
Right. Did you notice Letty kind of looked like she thought about it? Like she.
Yeah, she did consider it. She did consider it, and I mean, I get it. That's your man.
She'll save her man.
I totally get it. And then like, I don't know when they have this conversation, Ruby and Christina. I don't know when.
Yeah, I guess it is. I guess it has to be after
that. That's what I'm saying. It's got to be the next day or something like that. And she's pretty much once again, and this was starting to get on my nerves too. Continuously seeing scenes of Ruby questioning Christina's intentions. You know what it is. Like, why do you continue to have these conversations with her? And she's like, tell me what it is. And so she's telling her about the spell. She's telling her what is needed. She tells her about that blood, nails, hair. And then this is when Ruby remembers what Letty said and she sees the blood, nails. Yeah, stares at it way too.
I know, she, like being super obvious. But so in their conversation, Christina mentions that there's infinite ways that the spell could go wrong. So Ruby realizes she's kind of like nervous about the spell. So I don't know if it's trying to play into this as well. So Ruby's like, will you have me? Or, you know, like, oh, because Christina says, if the spell doesn't work, I've killed the last of my family for no reason. And Ruby's like, oh, you have me, blah, blah. So now, learning what we know, Ruby could have just been playing into her to try to get the vial.
She didn't do a good job?
No, she did not. So, so Ruby and Christina have a moment and then they start kissing and whatever. So cut to the next scene. We see Atticus and the whole squad, Gia, Letty, Hippolyta, Dee,
everyone's taking a road trip.
They're all together, they're all working together, they're all on board, and it's beautiful.
It's nice. Oh, and Ruby comes back with the vial. She's like,
yes,
I did it.
And
we're like, yes, bitch.
Now, did you notice when Christina first showed her the vial, it was big. Oh yeah, a little bit of blood in the thing. Yeah. Now when Ruby comes to Letty, she's like, and she gives her the vial, it's full of blood.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Okay, same.
It was full to the brim.
Full to the brim.
And I wondered, you know how sometimes like when you'll watch movies and the person will be smoking a cigarette and it'll be a full cigarette, and then they come back and it'll be halfway gone. I was wondering if it was like, if it was like them not paying attention or if that was intentional. Either way, that definitely caught my eye. Like either way.
Yeah, it should have been.
I was like, where is all the extra blood?
All that blood.
Like,
yeah.
Anywho, so they hop in the car and they sing.
Life could be a dream.
Life could be a dream.
Yeah. Now I like that D is the one that started singing it because D has been through it and she's super a kid at the end of the day, you know, and she's lost her dad, she lost her mom for a while, she lost her arm, she's feeling super depressed, but when we see this childlike stage emerge back out of her and she starts the song, then her mom joins in, then the whole car, even grumpy old Montrose, shaboom. He just did the shabooms. But it was really cute. It was an endearing moment for sure. They're like on their way. And literally the next scene, dum dum, it just says Artem. And it's like dark.
It's that horror trope.
Yeah, it definitely
it's that horror trope when shit is all good. Right before shit is not all good.
The calm before the storm.
Yes,
yeah.
That like it always like I don't even care if it's some stupid ass Jason movie. Like it always happens that way. Everybody's all like, yeah.
It's also life, man. The law of cycles. I learned that in that book. The law of cycles, man.
And then it's like
the wheel of fortune in tarot. It's the same thing. It'd be up and then it'd be down. Like,
it's gonna come back right. So they get to Artem. And everyone is taking position, and I love it. Everyone's just getting information. We have Montrose, Gia, and what's her name? Hippolyta setting up the salt barrier around the premises so that they can make this thing happen. We've got Letty on her mission, which we'll find out later what her mission was. And then we've got Tick surrendering.
But before he surrenders, Tick and his daddy going, like they're walking, and he has a salt, and he pulls out, I guess from a cooler or something, whatever organ he takes.
Oh yeah, that's what he eats.
And he takes a bite, and then he drinks whoever blood was in that bottle.
He don't take no bite. He put that whole thing in his mouth. He put that whole thing
Montrose told him pinch and swallow, and then he gave him some alcohol to wash it all down with, because Lord. But so that was the 3-part connection was he had Titus within him, then himself, and Christina was going to be the third connection needed for this. Yeah. So, so then he goes on to surrender himself, and Montrose says to him, I'll see you on the other side. Now, earlier, Montrose was one of the main ones that was like, don't do this. Like, it's stupid for you to surrender yourself. You have the birthmark, it'll protect you and your son. Like, you, Letty, and your son disappear. Christina will never find you. You're gonna die. So Atticus tells him, like, no, I'm not gonna die, don't worry about it. Basically to get him to, just go along with what we need to do. So Montrose says to him, all right, I'll see you on the other side. And that's essentially, their last conversation. So now we see Montrose, Gia, and Hippolyta putting the protection symbols places on the bridge, different places, and we see Letty and Ruby in this tower putting protection symbols up there as well.
And
Letty and Ruby, right?
Letty and Ruby, I don't know, it's something she said, a movement or some sort, that pretty much let us know that she did that transformation bullshit. AKA, she fucked around with Ruby. Like, there's some speculation. I, for one, believe she killed her. There's some speculation on if she's in a coma still or if she's
That's
killed.
what I was wondering, man. Because, when they do the recap at the beginning of the episode, and so they purposely say the relevant parts.
Yeah.
So the recap they said was, when she was telling Ruby about how she kept William's body preserved, how she kept him in a comatose state. So they used those words specifically. So I'm wondering, and remember when Ruby didn't want Hillary's body anymore, she turned off the oxygen, whatever it was.
But they still did.
Yeah, they're still
so
essentially,
they're in a vegetable state.
Right.
So my thing is like Ruby.
I don't think they're coming back.
That's what I'm saying. Like either way, Ruby is still still dead. So
I think they just keep the blood going so they can use it to transform.
Because he looked way too pale to be somebody that was
William was gone. William was gone.
He looked way too pale to be somebody that could come back.
No.
And even Homegirl, she looked a little bit too pale to be someone that, we can just go ahead and bring her back and let her do her thing. So I'm like, either way, essentially, you killed Ruby.
No, for sure. She definitely killed Ruby. Yeah, for
she
sure.
Killed that lady. I don't know what people are talking about. Anyway.
No, they just try, so that's what, like I'm saying, people just don't want to be able to accept certain things.
You gotta accept.
So they try to force the opposite. But nah, she did. What it was, and again, we think back to that joyful car ride where they're all singing "Life Could Be a Dream." So while they're in the tower, Ruby and Letty are talking, and Ruby says, despite everything, the ride up here was really nice, and it makes me understand family. So Letty starts catching on, and to test her, she said, thanks for agreeing to help me in the cemetery. And Ruby was like, oh, of course. Now we know she ain't help her. She was like, nah, you selfish. So that's when Letty knew. And a fight ensued, child. Like, I was worried because I'm like, she pregnant. And they were throwing blows, kicks, punches, tossing. She tossed the bitch.
Tossed her out the tower.
Woo!
There's
it was a lot.
Speculation about that as well. Did she say the spell? I don't recall.
Well, I went back and watched it today. In the scene though, in that scene, she did not. She didn't. We didn't see it in that scene to know that it happened. But before the fight, she said to her, "Ruby made me promise not to hurt you, and you're the reason she's dead." So. Essentially, anyway.
Did she say the spell?
Yeah, she did. That comes along later. I'll tell you when it comes along. But yeah, she did. So, Christina she threw Letty out the tower, killed her as Ruby. Then we see the townspeople with their pitchforks coming to get Gia, Montrose, and Hippolyta. So they bring in, them to where Atticus is. And we see Dee alone in the car, reading with one flashlight, reading the Lovecraft Country book. Essentially, with Dee's situation, the Shoggoth, the white Shoggoth comes first and, attacks the car, but then the black Shoggoth defends Dee and kills off the white Shoggoth. So Dee's straight. Where Tick is at, Christina shows up in this white wedding dress looking thing and with the book of names. So Atticus knows, shit went wrong. He sees his family being brought there, but he don't see Letty. So then that's when he starts crying. He's like, where's Letty? Where's Letty? Mm-hmm. Now, Christina just goes ahead and starts the ceremony, I believe, at that point, which was brutal, like huge dagger, and just slices my man's arms, and he's bleeding out, and then she's bathing in it. And again, as we said before, this blood sacrifice stuff is real. So Lovecraft be putting stuff out there. But anyway, so she's bathing in his blood. She's doing this stuff. It's really hard to watch. It's really hard to watch.
I don't know how anybody is looking at that and still trying to find redeeming qualities in this white woman.
No. It's like, oof, oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, she just crucified man.
She just crucified.
She just
our hero. Like, come on.
And then made everybody watch.
And then made everybody watch it. Made the whole family watch it too. Like, even if y'all gonna have them there, like, not have them thwart your plan, but don't have them
really brought them there.
It was like, hey. Right. So we see, like, I guess it's almost like some type of soul energy. I don't know what it is coming out of Tick going into Christina, but it's like this blue light thing, and essentially her spell is working and it's being completed. At this point, we also see Letty wake up and start running toward where Atticus is. She sees him moments before he dies, and he's able to see her too. They make eye contact, and she mouths, "I love you" to him, which again is beautiful and endearing moment as she has to watch the love of her life be murdered and sacrificed. It's a fucking lot, man. So at this point, Tick is pretty much dead, and I guess the thing is over, but there's still this large smoke thing leading up to the moon. So Gia gets the idea to go stand in it. Before that, I think, I don't know, at some point Letty stabs Christina, but it doesn't work. Like, Christina takes it right out of her heels, and she's like, I'm immortal, it's not gonna work. So Gia Kamiho, as she's standing in the smoke, her 9 tails go out. She's got one through Christina, one wrapped around Atticus, and she starts seeing the recent past. So we see Cliff's, I missed them the first time, but I didn't even notice it was him training the Shaga to, like, you know, be with Dee and all that stuff. I did see when he handed the letter to his dad, to Hippolyta. And then the second time I watched it, you see at the top of the tower, Christina as Ruby looking down at Letty, and then she says the spell again to bring her back to life. And then I think that's the only relevant things that I can think of that we saw in those moments. But as she's doing that, Letty is chanting, and we find out what the chant was, because we see there's a big explosion, and it's like black smoke. And after that, Christina's laying on the rubble, trying to do her magic to get out, and Letty's like, nah, homie, it's not gonna work. Did you realize what the spell was?
Mm-hmm. I had no idea what it was until she said it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't. And really, when she said it, I'm thinking, oh, she just can't do magic anymore. But she was like, you know, not you, all white people.
All white people so around the world.
All white people from doing magic. And that was that on that. And then they left it there. And then, of course, everyone gathers around to mourn Tick.
Oh, girl.
And Montrose is like telling him to wake up because, of course, he does not know that this is final. This is not what they discussed. This is not what he said would happen or could happen. So fuck. He's trying to wake him up. It's sad, you know. Yes. They pretty much come over and pretty much like, you know, let it go. They have this really dramatic walk where they're carrying him out across that bridge.
Yeah, and during it, we hear his voiceover reading the letter that he wrote to his dad.
Right, like pretty much saying like, I knew this was gonna happen, but you know, I love you.
Yeah, take care of your grandson.
Take care of your grandson.
You have a second
shot.
You
have a second chance to be, you know, that, and which I feel he will be.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing granddaddy. And so then they leave. They leave. And so Dee is taking a midnight stroll
with her shot, taking her pet for a walk.
Chilling. Mm-hmm. And she comes across the rubble with Christina in it, and this white woman, oh how familiar. Dee. Girl, we don't know each other like that.
I know you.
Dee, you know, save me. And she says something like they never learn, and she goes and she uncovers. And I love it because she's got on her dad's jacket. It's beautiful. It's great. What jacket do I have that would be good enough to expose the fact that I am the shit now? Mm-hmm. And so it's her dad's jacket, and she exposes her. Her drawing hand has been transformed into a robotic hand. So also fast forward or rewind. There was a situation between her and Hippolyta at some point in the show. And, you know, Dee's just really bummed about her fucking arm.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, I know that you're upset. And she pep talks her about being upset and everything. And she's like, I want to show you something. And they don't show us what it is, but I like to assume that it's a whole nother workshop. Like,
oh yeah, because you hear mad like computer noises, robot like. So I feel like
in the Hippolyta brought 3030 to the 1950s and hooked her daughter up with a robot arm.
Oh yeah.
So she shows the arm, and it's like yes, and then she goes and she squeezes like a fucking Coca-Cola can.
Oof.
and blood comes out. It's literally the best death I've seen.
Yeah, under the full moon. Shaggy from the background, Jurassic Park type of crawl. Yes.
And all is right with the world.
Yeah, literally, that was the closing scene.
That's why I'm like, and there were a lot of people that were upset with this finale, but the way that it ended, I'm satisfied.
It was really
I'm
perfect.
satisfied. Y'all can't do none of that magic stuff, which would include that experimenting and bullshit.
Right.
It can't do none of that shit.
Yeah, we talked about it, and every time that we saw the white people using magic, it was for evil. It was to harm people. It was for selfish purposes. It was literally like death that they were bringing upon other people in the name of magic. Mm-hmm. And another thing that we forgot, when Titus and Hannah, when there's it was kind of their spirits, but essentially his flesh was brought, which is how Atticus was able to stab him. But when they were talking, he says, "You stole magic from me," and she said to him, "You can't steal what's not yours."
Exactly. And I don't know why, for some reason, there's like this monopoly, even today, or not a monopoly, but like this idea that resistance through the form of magic, which is what black people were doing, which would be called hoodoo and things like that. Why would anybody feel that is an oppressor, feel that is theirs?
Right.
I don't understand it.
Everything is theirs.
I mean, but my thing is, like, I wouldn't even want to touch no magic that was used for people that I used to oppress. My first thought would be that I summoned something that's ready to check my
right.
I don't know if I was an oppressor.
If I was an oppressor, how would I think?
That's what I would do, but y'all are greedy, so
right.
I would just want to steer far away from that type of stuff. But and I love how she said that wasn't yours to begin with. It wasn't, and not only was it not yours to begin with, you did everything in your power to beat into my head that not only is it not yours, but it's the devil. And so for years, I was in purgatory thinking, oh my God, I am paying for my sins. I am on fire. When not realizing that the fire was not my purgatory. The fire was not my punishment or my consequence. It is my fucking rage. Yes. You guys have pushed me over the fucking
She even mentioned that at that ceremony they were going to sacrifice her baby.
Yes. And she's like,
we didn't know that. We didn't know that.
I cannot have that. And so it's like, and I harnessed that. And so my thing is, like, the entire time it was always inside of her. It was always with her. It was just a matter of tapping in. And they knew that. And just like when Homegirl came through, what's her name? Shorty girl that was in the ship.
The ship.
Oh, gosh. Montrose killed her.
Oh, Yahima?
Yahima, yes. Just like her. Just like that whole situation and how he took from her, pretty much, essentially. Like, you don't want to translate these words for me so I can take your magic? Again, not yours. You don't want to translate these words for me so I can tap into? And she's like, no, not really. Okay, well, I'm going to take your whole family and like put them in this room and kill them in front of you. Like, it's all, like, it's not yours.
Right.
Not yours. Right. It was never yours. And to have us believe that it was yours the entire time. Insidious people, I tell you.
Right. And that's so, even just thinking about, this is going to be a controversial statement, but about how the things that they tell you to go toward, such as Christianity, and to stick away from because they deem it as witchcraft. Like, but the oppressor don't ever tell you what's good for you. Like, hello.
It's a contradictory. How are you telling me that thou shalt not steal, and I watch you steal out of poor people's pockets?
I watch you steal people. Actually,
I watch you steal
human
people.
beings. Thou shalt not kill, but you killing my
kill.
People. Come on.
How can you tell me? How are you preaching that to me and being the non-example of that? How am I supposed to? So what you're telling me is I am going to be favored at the end of the day, and you're not. So what is it? I don't. It doesn't translate. And so I'm like, and then on the back end, You're telling us to do these 10 commandments and things like that. Ain't nothing wrong with the 10 commandments. Ain't nothing wrong with all of them. But you're telling us to adhere to all of these, and on the back end, you're the one blowing cinnamon through your front door because you want prosperity and abundance. You're the one that's, you know, divining and doing all types of things that we would do for our healing and our sustenance and our protection. It don't make no sense. That's why he was so mad. He said, these niggers, and it's not funny, but I did get a little tiny chuckle when they brought him back and he said that. And I thought to myself, he was like, imagine being an oppressor and hating black people and being dead and I guess sleeping as peacefully or restfully as hell could be. And then you get summoned back just to see that it's these motherfuckers. These niggas. Right. And then you see your great granddaughter. You're like, these niggas got the book, man. Like, oh my God. I chuckled so. In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, this is great. This is great. I got a good internal joy seeing that and then seeing them attack him.
Yeah, when he got stabbed. Yeah. And then they sent him back around. Like, damn.
Yes, these niggas.
Atticus was the man. Atticus is a hero. And I just love him. And his
for the fact that
himself.
He died, I'm not going to go in on him.
Since he's dead. And he's going to defend himself. But, no, I don't know. I loved it. I was pleased with the ending.
I was too.
I think it was perfect.
And if they don't have a season 2, I'm perfectly fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm not going to move no furniture and tear the house.
No.
It was a great experience. What's your favorite episode of the whole season?
I feel like for how it made me feel, it might still be I Am.
Yeah. I don't think
it was so inspiring.
I don't think there's anything ever that I've watched that made me feel like I'm floating afterwards.
I wanted my mama to watch it. She don't even watch the show.
I want my mama to watch it.
Come on.
Yes. I'm like, Mommy, for real, you don't even need to watch nothing else. Like, I keep telling her, like, you don't need to watch anything before it. You don't need to watch anything. This is a standalone episode. And that's another thing I like about this, too. Like, even the most beautiful episodes to me are definitely really good standalone episodes. Like I Am, and then Meet Me in Daegu. Those are my two favorites.
Yeah, they're so powerful too.
Yeah. And of course, I love episode 3 just for the exorcism.
Oh yeah, those scenes give me chills. I watched it 2 or 3 times and gave me chills every time. I was
listening to the podcast, and they had Misha Green and Journey on there. And Journey was talking about how her pastor and all of them made her do like extra prayers and shit like that for the exorcism.
That's funny. That's so funny.
I was like, wow.
That's funny.
And also, go ahead.
Well, no. Just talking about what you're talking about, and like what we were saying just now about religion too. Even in the Facebook group, there's some people that were saying they compare it so much to the Bible and to Christianity, but there are some people that were saying they mute their television when they're casting spells because they think it's evil. And again, that just speaks to how much these type of things have been ingrained in our culture as bad because they go against Christianity, which is supposed to be good. But who is telling us that this is bad and this is good, if not the oppressor?
Come on now. Who is making up these rules? Who is saying this?
Right.
It don't make no sense. And they be going off in there too. And I'm like, so you're just, how do you even know to mute your TV? And then not only that, it's made up.
And then on top of that, it's made up. It's
fabricated. As in Misha Green just came up with some shit. Probably asked for some expertise on articulation with words, language. She made it up. I don't think that she meant to put out a spell to cast towards you all. I'm pretty sure that's not what was happening.
But it was collectively, I feel like it was a couple, probably 100 people or so that probably do this.
Yes, it was a lot of people.
Wow.
They brought out the Bible for this one.
They really did.
And it was interesting though, to listen to her account of it all, because I was realizing there are things, as she was talking, there are things that she did not even anticipate or plan or think about, which I find is so interesting, how you can write something and regardless of how it's written, like there could be just so many different interpretations.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like, they're talking about things, and this is something, she's having a discussion with someone that writes on the show with her, and a horror enthusiast, and they are like, so did you mean da-da-da? She's like, oh, I really hadn't even considered that. And I'm like, damn, girl. Yeah. It's so interesting. But I think that even her saying that just goes to show just how like big this show really is, and just how poignant it really is, and just how like it's just always going. Like, I'm gonna get the DVD collection. It's gonna be a family heirloom.
Oh, okay? Yes, like, it has to be.
It's just something like all of my children's children has to have access to
Lovecraft Country.
Yes,
and no, it really is that powerful and that good. And I feel like it brings such understanding to what's going on today and the mentalities that can allow certain behaviors that are going on today were deeply rooted and, you know, come from so long ago and have been passed down generations and generations. So the evil and the hatred and the violence and the oppression that we see in the show, where some people have the privilege to be like, I don't want to watch this because it's just too much politics. Like, no, that's real life. Like, that's really what people deal with and go through. So it's just so powerful, and how nice to be able to have that option for real, because damn,
it's all making no damn.
The whole population of human beings do not, like, for real. So bravo, Lovecraft Country.
Amazing work.
Yes.
Are you gonna read the book?
I want to now. Yeah.
I think I went in that just for shits and giggles. I was going to see if it's available. I found it on the library online.
Oh,
and I checked that whole out.
Oh, nice. All right. That's a good idea. The library. Right. Yeah.
Use the library cards.
Yes. I got mine. All 3 counties. Yeah.
It was good. It was really good.
Yes.
I don't know what to do now.
I know. I really am a little bit in mourning over the loss of Ruby too. I mean, even though she would make some dumb decisions, I was really sad to see her character have to
I was very sad to see that as well. But I would like to know, like, what part of the psyche needs healing where you keep trying to see the best in your oppressor. I'm trying to figure it out.
Girl, the same one that makes people do that in relationships.
So.
Because I feel like, I know that we did see them kiss today. Today on this episode as Ruby and Christina. But for real, I didn't feel that it was an intimate relationship.
No, I felt so it was like lustful, sexual.
But that's even when it was with William's character. I felt like Christina, I feel like she probably. It's cool to have a sidekick. It's cool to have a companion. But I don't even think when they interacted as Ruby and Christina that she led her on to make it think it was sexual or nothing. She never was like, I really care about you.
No, she never
made her think that it was right. So I didn't get that part. But whatever. Anyway.
Maybe she did that to see if she would try to steal it.
Maybe. That was part of the flashback too, when she saw her trying to steal it. Because they saw Ruby like turn around and was like, and Christine was just like looking at her. So yeah, I'm glad that we didn't go through or have to go through seeing however she killed her, because that would have just been irrelevant, really. But
maybe we should have. These people
yeah. There was some of that, and some of the men in the group were like, but Christina just so fine. Like, oh my god.
Okay, look, no shade, no tea, Christina. You are all right.
You're cute. I mean, she's a model. I guess she's supposed to be. And the fits that they put you in were
you better
flawless.
Look good. Even the one that we don't. Even the last scene, you looked amazing.
Yeah. That transformation from how the dress transformed colors, that was dope.
Yeah,
that was
dope. Beautiful. Yeah, because it was pink.
Just her whole outfit, yeah. But yeah, no, she was
red, whatever it is.
Yeah, the hero won. It's okay. Come to terms with it, and yeah. Great job. Okay. Bravo. Tune in for whenever we have our next Dahlia discussions. We gotta think about some. Well, there will be something, I'm sure.
Let's talk about. We need to talk about Moesha old toxic ass.
her daddy old toxic ass.
Okay, there it is. Moesha.
Dahlia discusses Moesha.
Moesha and what's his name? Moesha and Frank Mitchell.
That's funny.
Rude old stank toxic ass.
Mm.
Okay.
All right, peace, y'all.
Peace. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.